Hey, amazing audience. We are live in DC, Alexandria, right?
Yeah. Pentagon City, in Arlington. We're in Arlington.
Arlington. I never get that correct. I hope by the end of this trip I can. But
you got a lot more places to go. I don't know if you will, but that's also okay.
But with us tonight we have Brian Nelson Palmer, the amazing guy. He does a few things, just a few things. He's very humble. I'll tell you, I'm just out of the shot a bit, am I? Yeah. This is the joy about. Yeah. So we have like the Mevo here. For those that are watching, this is his, and then we have him, who's right here. I can't realize.
Hi. Yeah.
But it's been fascinating. Brian was on the podcast, and now we get the opportunity to meet face to face. We're actually having a night over here at his spot. Should we tell them about the Airbnb? Should we do it?
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So it's really a fascinating spot. Amanda and I are here for the night. Brian went somewhere else. But Brian, it's a pleasure, my brother.
Thanks for coming and doing this, man. It's an honor to get to meet you in person after we chatted online. To now have you like here live, you're real. You're like a real guy.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I gotta say.
Yeah, it is super cool. Connecting with you. But do tell us what's up. Update us from the last time we spoke to now. Like, what are you up to? What are you doing?
Well, since the last time we spoke, so I talked to you guys about DC Music Rocks, which is my podcast that I host. That's all about the local music scene in the Washington D.C. area. And since we last spoke, the podcast has grown. I'm about to hit 10,000 followers for the podcast, which is a pretty cool. Every time I see it or I look at it I'm so honored, and like it blows me away that people are interested in the local music scene. So the idea that I had when I started it was, local music is kind of amazing, and I knew that. And if I make it accessible and I make it easy to find, people would be interested. And it just is really cool that people do seem to be interested, which is so I keep going because people like it, which is a cool thing.
Love
it's
it.
Really awesome.
Love it. When did the inspiration come to do what you're doing?
The inspiration came because I'm also the drummer in the rock band Fellowcraft. If you check this out, the band we got a couple of releases now. We're actually about to drop our third album this summer. So August 1st of 2018, there will likely be a new Fellowcraft album, a full album out. And so I am a musician, and I've met lots of other great musicians in the local music scene in DC. And so, but when I would talk to my friends who weren't musicians, they would often ask me, what are the other good bands, or who should we follow? And so that was where the idea for DC Music Rocks came from, is like, well, what if I had a show that just showed you all the local music in DC? And that's where the idea for DC Music Rocks came from.
That's cool.
It started there.
It's fascinating because you're a guy that seems to follow through on the thing that you're doing. Like, starting a podcast isn't an easy thing, right?
No, definitely not.
So you've done that. I see your mic there, and I see your spot there, right? Which looks really clean and definitely in order. Tell me about that. Like, where did the order and the concepts for putting things in place come from?
So it came from, I have a background, I used to be a 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. A lot of people are familiar with the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but mine too. It was amazing. And I had the opportunity to become an instructor for Covey. So for a couple of years, I was an instructor for the 7 Habits training course. And so part of, when you become an instructor, you kind of, I jokingly say drink the Kool-Aid. Like you jump in, like, well, I have this opportunity, I should do this more, and so you have to kind of internalize the concepts. So I really started to internalize the concepts and be organized, and I came from a household that was very organized, and I grew up very organized, and so I had that good model in place. And then when I saw what it could do for you when you actually followed through with the organization and kept your life in order, it just kind of continued to improve it. So I mean, I've gone paperless in my personal life, and
Wow.
I've kind of taken it to another degree, and I love the results of that have been wonderful for me personally. So I do it personally. I don't try to push it on anybody else, but I personally believe in it, and it's been wonderful.
It is a lot for someone to do what you do, right? Or you're going to put that on them, like order in life or something. I mean, oh my gosh. But have you seen that the product of that be where you have more freedom, or does it continue freedom?
Oh, much more freedom. Because when that part of your life is in order, then when other amazing opportunities come up, you're able to jump on them even more. So because you have your life in order, so another opportunity comes. I jokingly say that there's a movie, and I love to reference it because I've kind of, my lifestyle follows it, as the movie Yes Man. If you're familiar with the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey, where he literally lives a period of time where he cannot say no. If anybody asks him to do anything, he has to say yes. And even though that's not to the degree that I take it to, when cool opportunities come up or things come up, because my life is in order and because I'm organized and I have my stuff together, when amazing opportunities come up, I'm able to do that. I'm able to take advantage and jump on and say yes. And by saying yes, you open the door to so many opportunities too.
I love
So
it.
it's been cool.
Yeah.
Freedom! Yep, absolutely.
So tell me, one of the segments we're covering is your own unique pair of shoes. Usually people see in their life, they see your shoes and they're like, ooh, what a great pair of shoes, right? And they don't understand the individual that is walking in the shoes in terms of where you've come from and where you are today. Share with us some struggles that you may have had along the path.
Struggles that I've had. Well, I grew up as a military kid, so I can start with every 2 years or less for the majority of my life has been a new address. And as a kid, completely resetting your life every year and saying goodbye to everything that you know and moving to a new city and having to start over completely. Because when I was a kid, we didn't have the internet. You didn't have the ability to keep in touch with people like you do now. So that reset every time was a huge struggle as a kid, because it just, everything you couldn't really get comfortable because it was always changing. But for me, it was wonderful because I was able to really embrace the fact that I learned that I knew that when I came to a new place, it was going to be okay. I could have another great life at this place, and at the next place, and at the next place. So it gave me a comfort with the fact that you really do control your own destiny. And if you get tossed into a situation, you can make the best of it, and you can make it, and you can have an amazing life if you want to. And it's kind of up to you. So the struggle was the reset and the constant changing. But from that, it kind of empowered me to, I truly believe all the way down that if I moved tomorrow, wherever I go to, I could create an amazing life. And that part is really up to you. So it was it was empowering indirectly.
No, that is fascinating. You know, one of the things we get to see is when we visit homes to have these night overs, you really see the character of an individual because you vibrate who you are in your space. And it's really fascinating to see, right?
Yeah.
I mean, children vibrate. For those that have children that we visit, they definitely vibrate their space, right?
Absolutely.
But it's really fascinating to see the model of your home and what you've done here with your space. It feels like an expansion of your life in terms of understanding what's necessary, what is priority, what is essential. That Eisenhower model, right, of that quadrant, right?
Yeah.
What have you found now that you've been doing this for the length of time you've been doing it? What have you found is important and not urgent in your life?
Important and not urgent. Well, look at you with the 7 Habits reference, right? For those of you that don't know what he's talking about, there's an important and an urgent axis, and they talk about organizing your life that way, where something you need to do can be important and it can be urgent. And so the most effective quadrant to be in is the important and not urgent. If you wait until it's urgent, then you're constantly frantic trying to do that. So the important and not urgent category is the best one. Right. So, and you're asking me, what have I been able to do in that?
What do you think? What have you identified as that in that quadrant, that important thing that you put up there as highest priority?
That's important and urgent.
Well, yes.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind as soon as you tell me that is that no one is in your normal adult life, no one is going to look out for you except you. So when it comes to life or living the fulfilling life, there's a lot of demands. Like there's errands you need to run, there's chores you need to do, there's things you need to be on top of, and that's just your regular life. And then you have your work life. And then if you're like you and I, then you have a podcast. And then you have, I'm also the drummer in a rock band, and I teach fitness classes. And so there's all kinds of things that are demands on your life. So the only person who's going to prioritize your social life is you. And the only person who's going to prioritize the fulfilling thing that you're working toward, the only person who's going to do that is you. And so as long as you take care of you and prioritize you, that is the important, and it's urgent, it's not urgent. That's the important thing.
I love that.
Is as long as you are working toward what it is that fulfills you or something that you enjoy, you have the ability to choose. One of my favorite exercises we used to do in the 7 Habits training was we did an exercise where I would have the class sit next to your neighbor, and you would tell them all the things that you had to do this weekend. Like this past weekend, what are all the things you had to do? And then you tell them, all right, I had to go to the store, and I had to drop the kids off, and I had to, there's all these had to. And then you had to do, then the exercise was, then you had to go back and you had to say the same thing again, only you had to replace the word had with the word choose. So I choose to drop the kids off, and I choose to prioritize this particular thing, and I choose to run the errands. And so it really is an epic kind of reframe on, yes, you feel like you have to, but ultimately you are making choices. And the choices that's where your power comes from. And so making the choice to prioritize what's important to you and your time and what you really want to do, whether if it's you really want to do art, or you really want to paint, or you really want to join a group, or you want to learn to knit, or whatever it is, that you is the ability to choose is such a powerful thing. And so that's my important thing, is you have the ability to choose. So make sure that you do, because it's powerful.
It is powerful. Ooh. No, that was like a challenging question that I threw out to him. He did pretty well.
Did I pass? What do you think? Did I pass? I felt pretty good about it on a whim. That was on a whim too. There was no prep involved in this at all. That was spring it on me.
Pretty amazing guy. Brian, when you heard that this guy from the Caribbean is coming to meet you face to face, flesh to flesh, what did you think?
Well, I supported him on Indiegogo, or whatever your
there was a GoFundMe.
Kickstarter, GoFundMe, that one.
Yeah.
So I supported him on GoFundMe because I thought, you know what? If you're willing to turn over your life and come all the way to my city from where you are in order to meet some of us in person, then I'll support you. Yeah, and if it's within my means, I would love to meet you, because that's cool. Because you came so far compared to where, and I mean, I'm spoiled because you're in my living room. This is my living room. So in terms of like ultimate convenience, you came all the way from the Caribbean to my living room. So I am appreciative, and I'm honored that you wanted to do this, and this was something that was interesting to you, and I love it, man. So for me, it wasn't even really a question. It was like, all right, how can I support? You know, can I facilitate, or in this case, can I provide you a place to crash for a night, or, you know, I'm happy to support. So for me, when I found out that you were doing this, it was like, Boy, you know, I talked about being a yes man.
Yeah.
Right? I just told you that conversation. Like, this is a yes man thing that you're doing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I am going to do it. So it's like, you know what? If you're going to go that far, I'll meet you. Sure, absolutely.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Tell people where they can reach out to you, where they can get more information about what Brian Nelson Palmer does.
Well, the first place I would send them is DC Music Rocks. If you DCMusicRocks.com is the website, or you can, it's a podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or if you're into, I mean, obviously that's in the local music scene. If you're interested in the DC or the Washington DC region, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, if you're interested in that local music scene, it's huge, it's very vibrant, and that is one of my niches that I'm very specialized in that area. So, but if you're looking to reach out to me, DCMusicRocks.com is the place that I would send you, because that's the best place to kind of find me. Yep. Wonderful. Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much for being here live.
This is
great.
Love it, love it, love it. Amazing audience. You're hearing it live.
Bye,
again.
guys.
Ciao.